Welcome to the Street Fighter League roster reveal. I am Hollywood RobTV, joined here with the one and only voice of Street Fighter, my man's Vicious. And today, we're about to find out exactly who is going to be competing on these teams in one of the most coveted things in all of the land of Street Fighter, and that is, of course, Street Fighter League. But before we get into that, Vicious, I think we should take a little trip down memory lane.
Oh, we definitely should, because it's been quite the saucy trip, right? We had the introduction of some of these brand new teams, some of the new players on the block, but also in a brand new game as well. This is the very first time we actually got to experience Street Fighter 6 at this capacity. Let's take a look at what went down over in the 2023 season of Street Fighter League. Looking right into it, right? Again, this being the very first season, we didn't know what to expect in regards to how Street Fighter 6 played out in terms of what the meta was looking like, or if the players were ready for each other to duke it out on the stage.
So, of course, we had Versus Vortex. Of course, this was a returning team. They were originally Team UYU, the 2022 champs of Street Fighter League. Oil King, NL, DCQ, and Xian, one of the most stacked rosters possible, and they delivered again on all fronts.
And it was so difficult to even see or consider like where this team was going to go, right? They already had like the pressure stacked against them being the champs. They had to think about what they wanted to do as a team, and also in regards to their roster as players, right? Or as characters, right? There was such a diverse and highly like coveted roster in terms of like what they delivered to the meta. And I think it was really difficult to contest against for sure.
Now, one of the most interesting storylines, CLG, they returned as Endemic, of course, the year after. They started strong, but eventually there was some struggle. Samurai, Chris CCH, Flash Metroid, and Reno all on the same team. But if you remember, they started off very weak, but then at the end, they were just ruining it for everyone else. They took the villain roles. Reno was going crazy with the JP. They were talking spicy. They would even be like popping off and everything, beating teams just to try to put them out of the playoffs. So I did love that energy. So for a team this stacked to not end up with one of the best records, that just goes to show how stacked that season was.
It really was, because you had some really big anomalies between Reynold and Flash Metroid. We've seen Samurai, we've seen Chris CCH. Whether you've been watching Street Fighter V, whether you've been keeping up with all the weekly events, it's like when you see those last two, it's like Reynold and Flash Metroid. What in the world is going on? What year is this in regards to that? But it's funny that we talk about the years and like some of the older players, older veterans that we had seen. Let's talk about the Red Rooster team that we had in the prior season of Street Fighter League US. You had Mono, you had Ajax Fidelity, you also had Banana Can and Puerto Rico's own, the very first superstar that we ever got to experience, PR Balrog.
Bro,
this is the old Puerto Rican team.
PR Balrog versus Punk. That's
Insane.
what we knew. That's what we knew. Oh, Eduardo is back. That was one of the greatest matches of all the Street Fighter League last season. Straight fundamentals, straight nooch, and then Banana King, just one of the most ridiculous stories overall.
He beat every single JP in the mirror.
And that was the best JP last year, point blank. And that's not who we thought it was going to be out of everybody there, honestly. He was smoking DCQ and everybody there.
It was actually one of the bigger surprises. I know Tasty Steve and I talked about it before the show even started. Like, yo, this might be a team that might make it into top 3.
Yeah, but I 100% expect them to come back stronger this year, depending on how nasty that roster is. But then we had UYU picking up Knuckle Dang, Dual Kevin, VX Bao, and Jin. Ladies and gentlemen, just take a minute to let that soak in. I mean, are you kidding me? Dual Kevin, VX Bao, and Jin all on one team. They actually did great all year, in my opinion. It's just that at the end, it seems like they sputtered out a bit. Knuckle Dude was a bit surprising in certain spots where he didn't actually get into that anchor spot. And we're like, whoa, why didn't they put Knuckle Dude in that spot?
Right.
That was a bit surprising. So I think maybe some of the decision-making, the managerial side of things, Vicious, might have been lacking that season. And I would expect them to come back a lot stronger with that this season with this experience they have.
I mean, considering we're going to have the reveal pretty soon in regards to who's going to be on what team, but just even looking at this lineup alone, Knuckle Dude, Dual Kevin, VX Bao, and Zen, any one of those guys could have been like the main point getters just because of the way they've been playing at every single event on a weekly basis. If you guys were following along with Street Fighter 6 and the way the meta kind of curved out, it was very much so in the interest of something like a Guile, DJ, especially JP. You had 3 of those guys in your roster already.
And you know what? I'll tell you what, though, seeing my man's Dual Kevin, in the end of the day, I'm hoping that he comes back this season because he's at a whole different level. A lot can change in a year.
He also played Luke. So you already had the 4 for 4.
Yeah, you had the 4 for 4. You know, they had no sponsors. And Team Nasser versus Team Bandits has to be the biggest storyline of all last season. I mean, the hype was absolutely ridiculous, bro. This is what we watched Street Fighter 4. 2022 season, they play together. The brothers and the brothers the hermanos. We had the Birds, and then we had Minna and Kaba. But then 2023 season comes around. They break up. Minna didn't clutch it out in 2022. Angry Bird and Big Bird said, no, that's not going to do it for me, champion. You got too much dip on your chip. Minna takes offense. Beginning of the season of Street Fighter League, he immediately calls out Team Nasser and says it's his mission to take them down, but did it end up playing out in that way?
Not at all, actually. If you look at what had transpired before Street Fighter League actually happened, it got a little bit personal, but not on not in a hostile level. It was on an evil grand scale level. It was Angry Bird versus Minna in the grand finals. Angry Bird ended up taking it all the way. So you already know there was a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, not necessarily the dip on the chip, on Minna's behalf. And it was so tough to even consider that, right? We had two of the brothers facing off against each other on that stage. Now they have to continue the feud into 2023. That was too much of a storyline.
That was absolutely ridiculous. And then as if Minna versus Angry Bird wasn't enough, we ended up getting the Shao Hai versus Punk out of nowhere.
Oh,
bro,
my.
And that turned into so much more than we could have even imagined at that time, because that storyline played out like a whole year even after that.
That was the perfect example of how miscommunication could go wrong.
Yes.
That infamous line, "Are you nervous?"
Are you nervous?
Transcended Punk into above and beyond levels of both gameplay and also personal hype, personified actually hype that we could ever ask for.
Punk said, you playing America's best. Oh my God. Absolutely love it. That is must-see TV, ladies and gentlemen, and they deliver on the sticks too. And we can't talk about the U.S. Finals without bringing up Chris Tatarian. My man stepped up when it mattered most. Struggled a bit during the season, but he kept his confidence high. He goes up against Punk the God and gets the W. His Kim was looking absolutely nasty, had the big pop off, and it was well-deserved. And Team Bandits was able to end up being our Street Fighter League champions for America. And of course, later on, they ended up becoming the Street Fighter League World Champions as well. And you gotta remember, Shao Hai at the end, he says that's why Punk is only second best. At this point, though, they did crush that beef and everything, at least so we think. But in the throes of competition, you never know. It can heat back up, ladies and gentlemen, only here on Street Fighter League. Shout out to Team Bandits. Last season was one for the books. Now that's it for the regular season, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, the most important thing is the World Finals. This is where we are fighting for all of the marbles. Ladies and gentlemen, we had 00 Nation representing Team EU, FAV Gaming representing Japan, and then Bandits representing the United States.
And this is a very, very well-organized team on all fronts, right? This is the kind of things that you have to consider on a world basis. When you are watching Street Fighter League US, you also have to pay attention to EU as well as Japan, because these guys had earned their spot respectfully because of how stacked all of the other leagues were. But fact of the matter is, 00 Nation, they came out swinging. FAV Gaming, they were pretty much the top dogs in regards to how the meta was shaped out for the very first season. It came down to whether or not the US was going to be able to cause a dent to the rest of the world.
And 00 Nation, you said they came out swinging. They missed, brother. You know what I'm saying? Just because you swing don't mean you're going to connect. And they did not connect, as they actually ended up, if you take the nation off of 00, that's how many wins that they got in the World Finals. It was a bit ugly, although their team is ridiculous, but it's the World Finals, man. In the end of the day, you got Phenom, Veggie, Lord Venom, and Rickmans Barnett all on one team. That is formidable. But when they went up against Team Japan and Team US, it just was not enough. So they ended up being the first team to bow out of the competition.
Right.
And at that point, it all came down to two. United States, Team Bandits going head-to-head with Team Japan, FAV Gaming. Be honest with me, Vicious. Who did you think was going to take that?
To be honest with you, I could break it down exactly how you were expecting it. Japan had been the most talented group of individuals, but also as a team, they were the most dominant in their region. It's Street Fighter League Japan. If you had looked at FAV's record, they had completely shut out team after team after team. It's not even just on an individual basis anymore, right? Everything considered, you know how to work the home side. You know how to work the away side. In totality of the overall record in Street Fighter League history, Japan Japan had the best streaks going on, the best records going on for that very first season. However, on an individual basis, Bandits had been killers throughout so many different individual tournaments, single W's, right? In terms of the battle between the Bandits and FAV Gaming, it was truly all the single individuals joining up as one, whereas FAV Gaming had already established themselves as a team powerhouse.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that breakdown. That is entirely accurate. And then it turns to the actual match, ladies and gentlemen. In the first set, we had Team Bandits on the home side with FAV on the away side. Xiao Hai goes up against Ryusei, takes him down. And then we had Tokido versus Kaba. Tokido takes the W, and then Bonchan takes down Mina RD.
Insane, by the way.
Things were looking a bit shaky for Team Bandits in set 1. Set 2, with their back up against the ropes. FAV is now home. Bandits are on the away side, so FAV has the advantage. Tokido takes down Xiao Hai. Then we had Sako going head-to-head with Chris T. Sako, the OG, the veteran, was able to get it done. So now you got to think. That means that Team Bandits is down 0-2. So it all comes down to Mina RD, all of the weight of the world on his shoulders. He goes up against Bonchan, who just defeated him, and he gets it done.
Crazy.
He takes down Bonchan. So now we're headed into set 3. Kaba versus Sako. Kaba bounces back after that first loss that he had earlier going up against Tokido. He takes down Sako, avenges Chris T. Tokido defeats Chris T. And finally, it comes down to Mina versus Bonchan once again. Mina RD takes down Bonchan. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, it went to overtime. The World Championship in overtime, Vicious.
It was the most terrifying overtime as well, because you had Ryusei on the JP, and he was looking immaculate throughout not only the season, but also that single day at Capcom Cup. He was looking untouchable.
So it all came down to that overtime match, and it was Mina RD versus Ryusei. As Vicious said, Ryusei was on a roll, but when you mess with the bull, you might just get the horns, ladies and gentlemen. And that is exactly what happened, as Mina RD clutched it out when it mattered most, when his team needed him, as Team Bandits became the first ever Street Fighter League US champions for the world. Absolutely phenomenal.
And it's such a wild thing to consider, just based off of the history of how SFL had kind of played out over at the Capcom Cup Finals. Majority of the time when you're looking at the stats, your heart would think, all right, well, Japan might just mob us up again. It's a bad feeling, but hey, that's something to consider, right? Considering how much they've had these W's over in the finals.
And at the end of the day, every single time we've had Street Fighter League Worlds, Japan has come and take it. Actually, it even personally to me, they smoked me and Knuckle doing everybody in the grand finals. Yeah, you were commentating that and everything.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was definitely a big thing for all of us over here in the States to actually become world champions, thanks to, of course, Team Bandits. And Mina RD actually called it out. He called his shot. He said, you know what? Street Fighter League United States, he said, in his opinion, is the strongest and deserves a championship. And he said he was going to deliver it. He did exactly that. Whoa, we're on a little bit of a roll. Street Fighter League World Championship for the first time. Evo champion Street Fighter for the first time with Punk since then. Hold up.
We might be on to something.
We might be having some conversations, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, but the Street Fighter League World Championships absolutely deliver on all fronts. But that is all last year, ladies and gentlemen. In the end of the day, Vicious, it is all about what have you done for me lately. We have a brand new season, and we just had our combines, the first ever Street Fighter League combines. Let people know exactly what that is.
So throughout a couple of days, we actually had opened up the eligibility for a lot of the players on a worldwide basis, because as you may or may not know, for Street Fighter League US, it is a world effort. So with that in mind, we wanted to see which of these players wanted to be a part of the big show, and we did exactly that. We went through region after region after region to see notable players from each not only get their highlight, but also a chance to be a part of a Street Fighter League team this season.
So in order to be eligible to get on a Street Fighter League team this year, there is multiple routes. One, if you were qualified for Capcom Cup 10 last year, you're automatically in the pool. Otherwise, teams could use their designated team captain spot and put a player there if they're not qualified. But the way that anybody could qualify for Street Fighter League in order to be in the player pool is to play and place top 16 in our combine tournaments. So let's take a look at some of these regions. So first, we're going to take a look at Oceania. You boys was cooking down there. First and foremost, some of the notable qualifiers. We had Freezer. Throwing them hands, quite literally. 100 hands slap with the Honda. Shout out to Freezer. Rumors. We seen them last year, actually a couple years ago, going crazy in 5, and now in 6. The talent has rolled over. Somniac, an OG in the region, and then, of course, Shin Khan as well. The Oceania region was crazy. Very hard to make that top 16.
Then you followed it up with South America, right? We had some of the players even show up at some of the big premieres, right? One of the ones that I was looking forward to was Zangief Bolado. He actually threw down crazy with his Zangief over at UFA, one of the big super premieres, and also made a giant splash, not even just with the body splash from Zangief, but also taking down some heavy notable
He beat
names.
Big Bird.
He really did. He really did. He put him down the loser side. But he's not the only player that's doing it, right? We have Young Ho, who's been pretty much considered a staple for CPT in South America. Juninho Ross, who had actually making it down to a Capcom Cup before, but so many different looks too with Salvatore. You had Frozen, Darlan. You also had Blas. These are some of the names that are currently up and coming with the World Warriors that we're still expecting to see greatness out of them going into this season. But again, there's so many players in this pool that is absolutely stacked. And moving into the next one too, Central America West. What can you tell me about it?
So in Central America West, they absolutely had a slobber knocker vicious Grand Todokai. We remember him really, I would say, rising to some sort of fame when he beat Daigo with Blanca back in Street Fighter V. And then since then, he has definitely been ridiculous. The JP in Season 1 almost qualifies, just barely had missed it there. We had Lugable cooking down there. We had Uriel Velorio. We see him in Capcom Cup taking bodies with the king, and we see him week in and week out in these online tournaments, beating the best players in America. We have Destroy Gods and, of course, MJ Gama from Mexico, the Kami extraordinaire.
Yeah, there's so many different avenues to look at in regards to talent for the Central America West region, right? It's just been so condensed with talent for so long that this one actually might have a pickup of one of the players going into some of the teams. But who knows, right? It's so diverse and it's so hard to tell because you have that in comparison to another region coming up with the Asia region covering so many different countries. But just talking about the notables, right? You had Tiger, Serini, QQ. You had Hot Dog 29, the 29th of the pack, ZJZ, Zen, and Emperor. We had actually just covered Emperor not too long ago, just like a couple months ago, actually, in regards to the World Warrior. All of these cats are making it so consistently in their World Warrior regions that it's so hard to even isolate who actually is the best for their region.
Did you just call Hot Dog the 29th hot dog in the pack?
That's right, I did, yeah.
You know what? That's a big pack of hot dogs.
That's too many, if you ask me.
Southeast Asia, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, come on. We know exactly what's about to happen over there. Some of the notable qualifiers. Bravery. We had I Am Chuan. We seen him with the Guile for years. We seen Bravery cooking up with the Kami for quite a long time. SKZ actually played in Street Fighter League back in, I want to say, 2020. It was actually 2020 Season 3. That's when he actually started off with a splash with the Seth. He actually beat Punk early on. Back then. The Bobby Fischer of Street Fighter. We have Mind RPG and SEO. Southeast Asia is consistently one of the nicest regions out there. Of course, this is where Xian, Evo Champion, hails from, and so many other strong players. But these guys right here, I could easily see somebody picking up one of them for Street Fighter League this year.
And then you have to actually talk about the next region coming up with Central America East. Now, shout out to my brothers down there, right? The Dominican team, the Puerto Rican team. This had all of the heavy hitters that we see on a consistent basis over in the weekly events that we hold down in the United States. I'm talking about Brian D, Ajax Fidelita. We got Roy, Louis Montueni, Hochi, Jimmy DR, as well as Crossover RD. If you are anybody who's anybody in the United States being involved in the Street Fighter scene, you see these guys on such a common basis, not only in these weekly events, but also on social media, highlights all over the place with how good these regions truly are. So again, with this slew of players, it's hard to tell, who are you going to pick up? I'm pretty sure I got my sights on, some of these names.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these names, which we will reveal. But the fact of the matter is, again, Central America East, easily one of the most stacked group of players that we could ask for in the realm of Street Fighter 6.
It's wild just how much they've come up ever since Mena won that first Capcom Cup way back in the day. And since then, of course, we've seen players like, say, the Jimmy DR, Crossover. Then Ajax, I would say he actually really got put on by Mono when he introduced him to the world with Street Fighter League.
True.
And he just came through and smoked everyone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're taking it to home base over here, United States, Canada, West. Some notable qualifiers. We had Jay, Bye. The one and only from Cloud9. 801 Strider, another player that is a Street Fighter League veteran. He's played in 2 seasons of Street Fighter League at this point. I remember him being on the team with Adam. I don't even know if Adam had a secondary at that time. I think maybe he did finally. But of course, 801 Strider, one of the stronger players that we have here in the States. Chris CCH, absolutely ridiculous. We've seen him with multiple teams. Enzo the Hokage, only 14 years old, I want to say.
14?
And his kin is insane. Yes, bro. He's ridiculous. Anytime you see him at an event, it's him and his dad and his fight stick, and he's smoking people, brother. Only 14 years old and as at that skill level. I don't even know if you're eligible for Street Fighter League at that age. Is it even possible? I don't know. Noah the Prodigy, speaking about young guys who are absolutely insane, Noah is on fire right now. He is hot as fish grease, as they say around my parts. Actually, we're talking about Noah in the trenches. That's the term that they say right there. Shout out to Noah representing the trenches. Samurai, Chris T, and Mike X. Mike X from Canada. His kin is nasty. Of course, Chris T just is a Street Fighter League United States reigning champion with Team Bandits last year. And then Samurai has beaten has OCV. How many teams here on Street Fighter League?
Mr. OCV.
Mr. OCV here, man. So any of these people could be a great pickup.
Mr. OCV in Street Fighter League.
And what do we have up next here? Is that the home base? Is that the strongest region in all of the planet?
You got to take over on this one. You know what? I wanted to talk about the Midwest, but since it's you, I'll let you have this one.
United States, Midwest, baby. Some of the notable qualifiers in the list really should be long because everybody's got to take a notable. Joey starting things off. Absolute dog. And he's getting it done with the Manon. He refuses to switch. He's making it work, and I'm proud of him. El Chacote. We see him. He is our reigning combo breaker champion. That's the champ right there, baby. That's the champ. Read it and weep. Just a kid. Actually, nowadays, he's just going by Jack. Boy, I know your name. His mama call him Clay. I'ma call him Clay. In the end of the day, my man's just a kid, or Jack, however you want to say it. He is that guy with the jury. You need to calm down on the feet. Tweets a little bit, but I absolutely love his jury. Now, last but not least, my guy, my partner in crime, White Chocolate. Brian F. is officially eligible for Street Fighter League. Team Midwest, baby. I mean, I think they should just pick everybody from this group.
I mean, you've had players all over actually been a part of Street Fighter League. I don't know if you guys have done your history homework, but Joey's been there, Chakotay's been there the first couple of seasons. Just a kid, he's been a staple. Also for some of the teams, too. He's been on, I think he's been on Street Fighter League the most, if anything. Then Brian F., he's been a tried and true from the very first season, from the very get-go, too.
And, of course, now we done talked about the West Coast Vicious. We done talked about the Midwest. But what can you tell us about the strongest region in America?
So, personally, I had the luxury of being able to call this one with FlyQuest Fighters, too. They had an extremely stacked bracket, as with all of them. But it's something to really talk about in regards to the current talent, the current atmosphere of the meta for Street Fighter in general. The East has always been mad dominant. Sure, we talk about the Midwest, we talk about the West Coast as well, but all homage goes to the East.
No matter what, you got to respect it.
You had the qualifiers coming through with Boost, who had been taking down guys like Punk, guys like Mena also, in some of the big weekly events. You guys had Psycho come through, one of the best Kimberlys to this day that we've ever seen in our lifetime. Followed by Burkish, the man always with the plan too, with the Rashid. This kid is immaculate. Hashtag Boston Beta. I see you. With Brutus as well, stepping up to the plate. Listen, man, he might be one of the funniest dudes we ever asked for in the FGC on Twitter, but also one of the most dangerous with Zangief. Shine coming through also, one of the big veterans. He's been switching up a lot of characters, but has found a lot of solace with Ed thus far. A lot of results on top of that as well. And another young cat via Paladin with Ryu. There's a lot of stock going on with Ryu right now. As it stands, as we get ready for Street Fighter League, I don't know if y'all noticed, but a while ago over at UFA, a certain Ryu had taken down one of the biggest tournaments we could ask for, and I'm positive Paladin had to be fully reinvigorated and reinforced with his Ryu pick.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, Paladin, a young guy, but definitely one of the biggest lab monsters. I mean, he showed me the notes that he takes, and my man is definitely a mad scientist, and I want to say that Paladin is only 16 years old and already has that skill level. So it will be really cool to see him here at Street Fighter League. East Coast, the Beast Coast. Definitely, I expect some players from there to be here on Street Fighter League. But you know what? We ain't really got to speculate no more. I think they're ready, Vicious. I think the people want to know exactly who is going to be competing in front of our eyes right here on one of the grandest stages of them all. Vicious, let's start things off with Team Red Rooster. What we got going on there?
Oh, yes. Some of the spiciest of the group, but also some of the most entertaining. We have veterans from Street Fighter League and also in the realm of Street Fighter returning for their teams. But to be specific, they picked up 2 brand new players that are going to be a pretty significant threat going into it. Let's take a look. Our team roster for Red Rooster is going to be none other, starting things off, Mono, then Ajax Fidelity, Uriel Velorio, and Brutus.
Hold up.
Making the cut.
Did you say Brutus?
I sure did.
Did you just say Brutus?
I did not stutter, sir.
Bro, I don't understand why it took so long for people to finally get a Zangief player on Street Fighter League. It's the smartest play, but I mean, I guess this is the strongest that Geef has been. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I think my man Brutus is good for PR too. They need to have him on the Red Rooster social media manager. Man, got the funniest social media account in all of the FGC probably. But man, I'll tell you what, Ajax Fidelity coming back. Mono coming back, of course, as the leader of the team. Uriel Velorio, we see him in Capcom Cup actually already. This team is stacked top to bottom. I think that they will be revamped this year too because Mono, they got to the playoffs and Mono wasn't even himself, I would say.
That's right, in their inaugural season too. But now that you look at the current meta and the current composition of the team, I think in regards to playoff contention, they might be the top dogs to look at just because of the fact that you have somebody like a Brutus, a character specialist specifically tuned to knock off the rest of the meta with that Zangief. But you also have Uriel Velorio, right? His kin has been on the up and up for so long, and now it's the time to really kind of expose that type of talent to the rest of the world. So it's really cool to see it. Like initially we had the all PR affair, we had all Puerto Rican team, but this right now with the inclusion of Brutus and Uriel Velorio, I'm not going to be surprised if I see them in a top 4 spot.
People are always talking about how in Street Fighter League, the best players in the world say that the pressure here is different than even the regular big singles tournaments. It's a lot higher here because you get your teammates and everything depending on you. Well, I ask you this question, Vicious. In the end of the day, championship match, your whole team on your back. Zangief drive rush at you. He has critical art. What do you do?
I freeze and hold up back.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And at the end of the day, if he did a button, then you're dead. I'll tell you what, man, I need to find out exactly what was going through Mono's head when it came to putting this team together. Let's go ahead and talk to the man himself. Mono, the people are officially seeing your roster right now. Red Rooster has been revealed. Let us know, brother, how confident you feeling about the team?
I'm pretty confident as ever. I mean, I'm already with people that what matters to me the most is that there's good synergy amongst the players, like good environment. So we have Ajax Fidelity again, and he's always been like the up-and-comer. And this year we're actually going a little bit because I want more LATAM representation as well, and I've hung out with this person a lot and played, and it's Uriel Velorio from Mexico. And I got Brutus. I actually did want a character like a character specialist, a person that I've seen that does really well. He's actually a person that I feel like maybe like under the radar technically because he doesn't have as many chances to travel as much, or I don't see him as much in these types of events. And I kind of would like to see him in SFL. So we talked a bit, like obviously amongst the players that we were considering, but we talked to him a bit. We consider the matchups as well. Like what matchups do we feel like we could use certain characters to cover? Ken's always good. Ed is debatably top 5 now in a lot of the tier lists on social media. I'm not sure. I still don't put him top 5, but he's definitely consistent. So with Fidelity, that's really a given.
How often do you think you're going to be implementing someone like Brutus, a character specialist specifically for Zangief, in the away positioning in comparison to like the home positioning? I feel like he'd have like a lot more utilization being the big counterpick, no?
Yeah, I feel like in home, he's going to have a really good advantage, especially with certain teams. Like matchups that I feel like Geef does well, like the Akuma matchup isn't really that bad for Geef, and it's like really risky for Akuma. You can't demon flip on Geef per se because he always does Lariat if he wants. Also a matchup that's I feel he does way better than the other 3 characters in my team is Guile. I feel like Geef versus Guile is actually a really good matchup. I remember that Veggie beat Higuchi in the LCQ this year. In the LCQ, he beat Guile with Geef. And just in general, like it's a character that I feel the only matchup that I feel is like really hard for Geef is Sim, but then I feel like the rest of the team can kind of cover that matchup.
Yo, hold up. But there's something big that we're not fully addressing here. He tried to just mosey on past it.
He was going through it,
When people mosey, that means that
they're behind something?
They hiding a little something. In the end of the day, Mono, we seen you with a full Puerto Rican team before. And now You actually spread it out a bit. You know what I'm saying? You even went and got a white man. You know what I'm saying? Out there in Canada and all that with Brutus. So I want to ask you this. Did you have to go ahead and say, you know what? It's not only, of course, you represent Puerto Rico no matter what to the fullest,
Yes.
and they got your back. But you want to focus on overall winning too. Like, are you more focused outside of just representation? You are more focused this time on trying to get the gold.
I mean, personally, we're focusing on winning, so that's why we tried to like study well the matchup. Last year, we didn't really have a Ken in the team, but we did have a JP, which was Banana Ken.
Banana Ken did crazy last year.
He did phenomenally. I think he was like one of the MVPs.
He was one of the MVPs.
Actually, MVP for a lot of the players and also some of the people behind the scenes too.
I mean, he never lost. I think he never lost the mirror. Actually, he beat VX Bao. He beat
DCQ as well. Yeah.
And he beat Reynolds. Like, he beat all the JPs, which was pretty cool. And but I feel that this time around, well, yeah, we're focusing a little bit on the meta, but overall, like the team last year, okay, we took the risk of like having a character that if we were away, it was a lot easier to counterpick because we had 2 juries. And then if the team had a Guile, it was pretty easy to like snipe one out. But I feel like overall, the players were really good. Like PR Barrow was really good, Banana Ken as well. And the fact that they were all very actively playing, plus from Puerto Rico, was like, it was a done deal as soon as I saw the fact that we could actually make a team all Puerto Rican. This year, we just went for more matchup spread, I guess. And Uriel Velorio was here in Puerto Rico not too long ago. We were hosting like an event I'm doing. And he's playing like insanely well. And he's actually, we've been training him and Fidelity. And then Brutus, like I said, I've been watching him. He did super well in his World Warriors. In the Combine, he did really well as well. So I honestly think it's, and I always like, bringing that, because if you come to think of it, Fidelity was a person that I saw potential in from Puerto Rico, and I was like, I want to bring you out because I feel like you're gonna actually like do super well. And then his first year, he beats NL, he beats Punk on his first try, and I don't know, I just have that feeling with Brutus. I feel like he's a player that has like a lot to offer. He has a good character. He's been with this character for a long while. I feel like he's gonna do things with Geef that maybe people that are not accustomed to playing a specialist might get overwhelmed by. So I just have like a lot of faith in the team, I guess, this time around.
Mono, you absolutely are one of the best captains that we have, and I feel like it was one of the best moves possible. The fact that you went and got Brutus, a Zangief, more people should be doing that on Street Fighter League. Brother, best of luck to you in this upcoming season.
Thank you very much.
Always good hearing from Mono. That guy he just does something to your soul. Does something to your spirit, huh, bitches? He make you feel good. He just a very positive guy. He's like vicious, just like inverted. He's like vicious, just like on opposite day. He's like vicious, but just like better at Street Fighter. Something like that, man. I love you.
Yeah, I guess I'll take that. Sure.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, as confident as Mono is going into this season, this next team that we're talking about, they have every reason to be confident because they are actually comprised of an entire team that is a former Street Fighter League championship winning squad.
That's right. When they say the fighting spirit, they mean what they're going to bring to the table because this is a team that is finding redemption. This is one of the hardest working teams that we could ever ask for. This is fighting spirit. Let's take a look at that composition. Here it is. Oil King, NL, Cien, and DCQ. An insane composition, if you ask me, not just in player caliber, but also the character lineup is going to be so hard to defend against.
Yo, this team might have like the deepest lore, like maybe them and like Nasser, but honestly, they might have the deepest lore because you got to understand this team, at least the Oil King side of things, earlier on in Street Fighter League, he's on here with Team UIU. They go winless at first. He's always been the captain. They didn't even get to win a game. It was crazy. They never got relegated. If this was soccer, they got relegated to another league, Street Fighter League Junior or something like that.
I don't even know what that word means, but I totally hear you.
Oh, yeah, see, uncultured swine. Now, with that being the case, my man actually fights all the way back, and Team UIU ends up becoming the champions of Street Fighter League with this exact team that you're seeing right here, Oil King, NL, Shin, and DCQ. And since then, they have stayed together and always been one of the best teams in all of Street Fighter League. I expect a lot from them, and we got to hear from their captain. We have Oil King, the man himself, right here on air. Oil King, the people have officially seen your team roster for Fighting Spirit. I mean, I guess yours is a pretty interesting one to ask because this is your guys you're always with, but why did you decide to keep the same team together for this season?
Because me, Shen, DCQ, and NL, we are we are very close friends. I think you guys already know it. And since the first time we make a team, UYU, right? The first time we got a champion. Of course, last season we only got, I remember, third place, right? We believe we can do it again.
I like that. I like that too. When you talk about like the team composition and like where you placed from the previous season, it makes a lot of sense. Like I think having that same type of synergy and the way that you guys think about the game, you think about what other teams are coming up and the approach for like the team factor stuff. I like the way you guys kind of mesh together. Although being a part of the same team, what do you think you're bringing differently now into a brand new season of Street Fighter League with some new changes as well? Like what's going to be different now with your team currently going into this year's competition?
I think it's the same. Like Shen is like our team brand. Shen is a very smart player. I think for the new season, he still will lead us. And this season, NL will be changed. Season 1 he played Rook, right? This season he changed to Akuma and the Kemi also. But of course, I believe he played more Akuma. And now NL Akuma is really, really strong because from Street Fighter 5, he already played Akuma as well. Right? Mm-hmm. And of course, DCQ, the season 1, he played the JP, right? Now he have JP and the M Bison.
And yes, you're right about the four players being good, and that's putting it lightly, to be honest. All world-class players. So I gotta ask, when it comes to that anchor spot, in the end of the day, if you guys need points, it all comes down to the tiebreaker or that anchor spot. Who do you think would usually be in that situation? Who would you normally put in that spot?
I think it depends on which team. If like last season, I think our best choice will be NL or DCQ, right? But this season, I think with 4 players can put a 20 point, to be honest. Just depend on which team we need to adjust.
Yeah, no, I like that answer. I think out of all of them, there's so many like kind of factors to consider. Each one of these cats could definitely score like a 20-point ball game for sure.
I mean, I feel like pretty much all bases are covered right now. For you personally, Oil King, you brought it up. The last thing I want to ask you, brother. Last year, you said you feel like you actually were the weakest link, at least in game. That's how you felt with your team. But, of course, all those other guys are so strong, too. This year, what has changed in your game? What do you feel like you've improved at in Street Fighter 6 that's going to make you a much stronger component of your team?
We know the Street Fighter 5 Rashid is very strong. I would say Street Fighter 5 Rashid is stronger than Street Fighter 6. But Street Fighter 6 Rashid has more tools, so you need to time. Street Fighter 6 Rashid is not a character you can just play and win. You need to have more time to practice, and you can win. And now I already practice a lot. So that's why I say my Rashid is ready now.
Okay, talk that talk, brother. Well deserved. We can't wait to see your Rashid amazing offensive style this season of Street Fighter League. And best of luck to you and the rest of Fighting Spirit.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Vicious. Thank you, guys. And I really look forward to see you two again.
My man's Oil King, man. Look at Oil King.
Look at him.
You see him? You seen him just now? Look at Oil King.
Look at him, man.
Absolute inspiration. Glad to see that team back here on Street Fighter League, Fighting Spirit. But this next team that we have, Vicious, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's how you feel about it?
That's the sound. That's the sound that all these other teams should be hearing right now in the back of their mind, because we have an absolute titan in the world of esports in general joining Street Fighter League for the first time.
That's right. One of the most celebrated and decorated teams that we could ever ask for to do it big in the world of gaming. I'm talking about Cloud9 with the composition of killers. Now, we talk about a composition a lot. We kind of hail a lot of these players as being some of the best we could ask for, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But no, these guys have proven it on a World Warrior basis. They've proven it on a CPT basis. In fact, they've done it on an EWC basis. I'm talking about this composition right here. Roll it. Let's take a look. We got JB, Lex, Noah the Prodigy, and Boost. That's Boost coming through as the fourth main.
Bro, you know what? This team is crazy. Cause you got, bro, what, are you kidding me? JB and Lex, the brothers of destruction. Come on, bro. And then Noah the Prodigy and Boost. What's so interesting with this team is, out of all 4 of these players, one, they're all godlike. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, we know the results, as you just alluded to.
That's right.
But what's so interesting is this is probably the first time where there's 3 players on a team that all kind of got godlike within the last couple of years. Some even more recently than that. Noah the Prodigy is on an insane run right now. He's hot as fish grease. Boost, of course, is looking ridiculous as well.
He is so concentrated on the focus on the composition too, or on the competition. I don't even call him Boost anymore. I call him Boost Wayne because he's been taking down every single top player. He studied the hell out of them and ends up taking the dub.
Yo, JB is looking like an absolute mastermind right now. We're going to see if it plays like that in the actual season. Let's talk to JB. We got the man himself right here on air. JB, you've officially shaken the world up, brother. We see your roster right now up here on the screen. Let the people know what went into your thought process, man. How you feeling about your squad?
I'm super happy with my squad. The way we kind of formulated our squad, me and Lex, because me and Lex were obviously going to be the first two people on the team, right? After that, we needed people that could beat mostly American players, people like Mena, Punk, Nokudu. Punk is still one we still haven't really been able to solve too much, but we have people who have beaten Mena on the squad with Boost, and we have people who have beaten Nokudu before, both Boost and Noah, so that's we really want to win. Our strategy going forward is to really try to win the captain matches. So that's why we have like these really articulate powerhouses that'll kind of like come out of nowhere, and steal some games. So
I don't know if I call Noah articulate, but he talks a whole lot of trash. I'd be like,
he's I think there's one word you could say for that, but one thing is for certain, no matter how you phrase it, it's very consistent, right? You have somebody like Noah who shows up to the events and manages to steal away the momentum from anybody who's rooting against him. I feel like that kind of powerhouse is needed on a team. So in regards to having both Noah and Boost, one or the other, who are you putting on for majority of like your away games? Because I feel like that's going to be like the hardest thing. I think some of these characters some of these players can get counterpicked kind of hard. Between those two, do you think they're going to be delivering as hard when it comes to being on the away side and being potentially countered? Countered, excuse me.
On the away side, our strategy is probably going to be putting Lex and Noah pretty much probably on all the away games, unless it's like a hard counter, like maybe Mena's team, because they have a Guile already. They have Mena, who's really good against Guile, So our strategy is probably going to be putting Noah, who you can't really counterpick Noah. You know what I mean? Noah is a very, very hard person to counterpick. So, and then Lex, who plays Guile, one of the best characters in the game, really doesn't have any bad matchups. So it doesn't really matter who they put on those two people.
You have one of my favorite players to watch right now in Noah the Prodigy. I mean, probably one of everybody's favorite players to watch right now. So that situation right there, we know like team chemistry and stuff is important. Noah's going to be talking a lot of trash, not to y'all, but to the other team, no matter what. He's going to have like 60 feuds going on. So how do you feel about that? Have you even thought about that? And how do you handle it? Because you're somebody who's more calm where he's so extroverted.
Well, the thing is that him and Lex are like a dynamic duo. I don't know if you've ever seen them together, but they're trouble together. And when I mean trouble, I mean like high school lunchroom kind of trouble. You know what I mean? Even though Lex is a little bit older than him, Lex is still, he's a little kid at heart. So both of them are kind of crazy. And obviously, me being older, I'm 30 now, so I'm a little older. I'm a little more mature. I don't really know if I'm going to be ready for that or if I'm going to be able to control them, But you know what? As long as we get this win, I really don't care, man. And as long as long as he kind of doesn't take it too far, But Noah is good with that. I think that he knows what is taking it too far and what isn't, So I think Noah will be good. JB,
you are one of the most consistent players that we have right now. One of the strongest players in the world. Ridiculous with the Rashid. And, of course, you're representing Cloud9. S-tier organization. Very well deserved. Brother, we can't wait to see you and your team in this season of Street Fighter League.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
My man, JB, he making a good point. I could imagine them being hard to deal with, man. Yeah. Lex and Noah together. He said they act like it's a high school lunchroom.
We got to figure that out in person as well. It's not even going to just be like you guys are going to experience it, but even like when the cameras are off, like I don't even know what kind of like mayhem those two are going to bring together.
Oh my goodness, we need to make sure we got some security or something on hand to rein them guys in. That said, ladies and gentlemen, we just said we're bringing in a brand new team. Of course, Cloud9 is their first time being on Street Fighter League. But I know you guys didn't think we were done. We're bringing in something new. Ladies and gentlemen, the next team that we have right here is headed by one of the Capcom Cup champions from right here in America. Vicious, let the people know exactly who I'm talking about right now. First time on Street Fighter League.
led by a man who is taking now the very first Capcom Cup, a Street Fighter V, who's made his return and multiple championships over at Street Fighter League as well. I'm talking about none other than NuckleDu, leading Shopify Rebellion with some of the most impressive rosters that we've ever seen in the history of Street Fighter League. Let's take a thorough dive. As NuckleDu being the leader, we have Dual Kevin, followed up with Safe and Hot Dog 29 in the pack.
I'm gonna tell you guys something right now. Of course, I played with NuckleDu for 2 seasons with Team Gale and everything, and with having him as a captain, when you got NuckleDu Dang back there, anything is possible. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you. Now, with that being the case, it does not all fall on him right now. Dual Kevin is on an absolute heater, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen him qualify for EWC. He beat Daigo there. I want to say he beat, was it Momochi there? He beat so many players at that event, and then he even beat Mina in EWC.
That's right.
This guy has been on an absolute tear. Safe is just that's the wild card. I mean, Safe is absolutely ridiculous right now. The amount of reads that he's willing to make. It's not like he's somebody who just plays a straight, slow, fundamental style. He has all of that. If you seen that clip, the Safe versus Daigo clip,
I love that clip.
He was nooching him up for real.
And he's been on a Capcom Cup stage, so he knows what it's like when it comes to pressure and performing at the exact level that he needs to. So him being a part of the mix is just as dangerous as also having a Hot Dog as well, too. Again, Hot Dog has been streaming nonstop since Bison came out. This is a character that he is known for and is looking to be even more of a threat with that character going into it. Because in terms of the meta, you have a Guile from NuckleDu. Guile / Cammy. You have Dual Kevin with the Rashid and Luke if need be. You have Safe with a Cannon. That's a safe pick altogether. Hot Dog 29 with Bison. This is a powerhouse destructive team. This is a team that I feel like might even go all the way, in my opinion.
I like that pick right there. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to talk to the man himself, the mad scientist who put all of this together. Ladies and gentlemen, NuckleDu Dang. NuckleDu, what's going on with you, bro? Everybody just saw your roster. You done built a monster this time, brother. Let us know what went into this thought process.
Well, me and Dual Kevin, we're kind of a staple. I really like him as a teammate. I think he's an amazing player. He's one of my best friends. So he's kind of like a staple. Safe was a kind of a wild card one, but he has a really good record versus Punk. And I thought it was something nice, right? Punk's one of the best teams, or one of the best players out there. So Safe will be a good pick for Punk. Then Hot Dog, it's random, but because, he's all the way out in, I don't even want to say the wrong country. I'm going to take a guess. Hong Kong. He's in Hong Kong.
Correct.
Hot Dog's another good addition because his DJ was amazing in Season 1, and he plays a busted character in Bison. So it doesn't hurt to have, the best weapon in the entire roster in your team. So yeah, it wasn't too hard of a team to formulate. Me and Kev actually decided this team in Saudi Arabia. Actually, we were just chilling, because we were there for 2 days. So yeah, we were just talking over dinner. And yeah, this is how we came up with the team. Just talking about all the options.
All right, I like that energy. So right now, when it comes to yourself personally with Street Fighter 6, do you feel like you're in like a more fiery kind of ultra competitive personality or mentality right now? Just because, of course, we allude to that one situation, but we've never really seen you get like that on Twitter before. Like outside of just that situation, is that just kind of where your mind is at right now?
That was like a one-off situation because I had just lost. I got smoked actually. And then this dude just says he's the best guy, but I don't think that beating me does that. And to top things off, I was in Milwaukee, bro. There's nothing to do there. So I was bored in my hotel. I was like, and I was just remembering that. I'm like, all right, man. And then I want to shout out another person. Noah was talking spicy too on Twitter. But he knows better. 100% he knows better. Whether I'm in a 10-point spot or the 20-point spot, he's not going to see me there. I'm mark my words. When our teams face off, I'm sitting down, he's not going to be there. I promise you.
Really?
Their team knows better. Their team knows better.
Noah. Listen, Noah been talking spicy to you, and of course Noah's the homie and everything. I know he felt disrespected that maybe somebody might have talked about getting on somebody's Street Fighter League team, and somebody might have said that they need to see how he performed in the World Warrior or something like that. I don't know. So I think
you have that info.
Noah might want the smoke.
Yeah, just know not everyone's reading comprehension is good. It definitely didn't play out that way. When I see Noah, we're gonna dap it up. what he said is just factually incorrect. I could just prove it with my DMs, bro. Like, ain't nobody said you need to. I need to see how you do your role warrior. Like, what the hell? Like, I see what he did first hand in Saudi, bro. I don't need to do all that. So yeah, I think reading comprehension is a little low, but it's okay. We're here to play Street Fighter. So.
Okay, all right. Now, as far as your other teammates, brother, all right, we seen what duel Kevin is on right now. Kevin's cooking up, Knuckle Do. I mean, you want to talk about EWC and all that. What do you think about duel Kevin? You said he's been on your team, but I think this is a new duel Kevin.
Yeah, no, he's definitely playing a lot better. Ever since he dropped Luke and like solo main Rashid, he's been looking way better. And yeah, Kev's obviously an amazing player and teammate, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he does for us this season.
No. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit and kind of like switch over to a different character, a different player. Talk to me a little bit about Safe, because I haven't seen, even before, like last year when we saw him over at Capcom Cup, I didn't really get to see him do his thing ever. What was your choice in regards to picking him? Like thorough details, right? You talked about it. I think he's a pretty good character, or a pretty good player, and also mopping up certain players during like weekly events. But Ken is also a strong pick too. But your specific reasoning behind the Safe pick, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's funny because like last year at Capcom Cup, me and my manager from Shopify, we were just watching Duel Kevin versus Safe, and we just thought Duel Kevin was going to kill this guy, and we were just slowly watching our boy get annihilated on stream. We just looked at him like, yo, like he's not doing nothing. And then I played Safe in my World Warrior, and he was up 2 games with the quickness. I brought it back, but I could see why he gives Punk a hard time. I could see why he beat Duel Kevin at Capcom Cup. He's a really odd player, which is why I say he's a wild card, because he has a very peculiar play style, and he uses Ken, which is still the better shoulder than Ryu, by the way. Don't let these Ken players tell you that, just because.
Don't look at me like that. Did you just say Kim? You said, bro, Ryu is top tier though.
He's good. Kusanagi had an amazing day.
Kusanagi had an amazing performance.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But Ken still got the better tools. He's still cooler. It is what it is.
Well, bro, honestly, you've given us everything that you could give us and more, brother. I mean, you got me so pumped up, got me so hyped for Street Fighter League. This season is about to be crazy, and you got a lot to live up to with us saying that Shopify might be the best. Actually, to me, I think that is the best roster.
I think we've agreed to that too. Yeah,
I think it's the best roster out of everybody. So you did a good job putting them together. Knuckle Do, good talking to you, and best of luck in this season of Street Fighter League.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Always good hearing from Knuckle Do. That team is ridiculous, vicious, as you said. That might be the strongest team on paper. I don't know, man, but it's definitely one of the best at bare minimum. But we can't talk about the best without bringing up the Quest. You know what I'm saying, Vicious? That's a little bar right there, a little something.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was pretty good.
All right, we just saw what this team did at EVO as they walked out with 2 major championships, 2 gold EVO medals, which is absolutely ridiculous. Jeremy, the people should already know, but who are we talking about right now?
For those that are in the know and those that don't, hey, guess what? We have Team FlyQuest stepping up to the plate for Street Fighter League this season, all guided by Punk the God, current EVO champion, by the way. Long time coming and well-deserved. With his composition going into it, let's take a look at who he decided to pick for his teammates of Street Fighter League US this year. Punk the God, he brought along Chris CCH, one of the most dominant cats we could ask for on the West Coast, doing it real big with his characters like Ed, and he also has a Pocket Bison too. But Psycho, this man is probably, in my opinion, one of the best Kimberly players in the world.
Facts.
Followed by one of his close friends. We got Shine back in the business. He's in the cut again.
Man, we haven't seen Shine in Street Fighter League in too long, and I don't appreciate that. I think he was just in it 2 seasons ago, but that's still too far away for me, brother. My man Shine, absolute dog. I definitely feel like when it comes to looking at this team, they're stacked top to bottom, but I definitely want to see Psycho and Shine, man, because I feel like in the end of the day, with their skill level, we don't always get to see them on these stages as often as we should, and I think this is going to be a breakout season for both of those players. In the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the team captain, the one, the only, the alpha and EVO champion, Punk the God, to break down exactly how he put his team together. Punk, it's official. The people are seeing your roster right now on stream. Let us know what's going on, man. There might be at least one surprise going on here when it comes to your roster. How did you go about picking these players?
I feel like they are just very good players. I've been seeing like Chris CCH. I feel like he's been doing very good every time I watch him play in online tournaments, and even when he go offline, the very few times that he do go offline, I feel like he always plays very good. And he's very good against a lot of people, I would say, that's actually in the tournament, and he also is very experienced in being like a captain in the captain role in the event, which is, I feel like, very good to have. And then you have Sean, which is another very good player. I feel like I haven't had Sean on my team this far in Street Fighter League. I feel like he's a very good player. I wanted him on one of my teams previously for Street Fighter 5, but COVID ended up kind of killing it then. So, I feel like this is redemption arc to come on the team and cook some fellas. And then you have my man Psycho, who, pretty much live very close to each other. And I feel like we practice with each other all the time. And, I feel like he's very ready for this kind of moment. And, from all the times that we talk in person and stuff, I feel like he's just very ready for this moment. And
is there any team that you think might be like the mood killer? Like, who is going to be like the biggest threat, in your opinion, going into this season of Street Fighter League?
The biggest threat, I feel like there's quite a few teams that's kind of scary. Of course, Bandits is scary because you just have Minnow, and he just coming off of a big Street Fighter League win, where he did a lot of crazy things during that run. So he's coming back as the champion, so it's going to be hard to stop that momentum. And I know he's been practicing very hard, especially since winning Cream City, and he qualified for the cup. So he got that one thing off his mind right now, and he can just kind of focus and lock in on Street Fighter League. So of course you have Team Bandits, and then I think Shopify is also very scary. You have Knuckle Dude, you have Dude Kevin, very good. For me, low-key, Safe is very scary. People might not look at him as like a top dog on the team, but Safe is very scary. And then
you don't know what he gonna do.
Yeah, I don't really like playing against Safe, and I do think that's a very big part of the reason why I do put him on the team. I think he knows that pretty big time. So, and then you have Hot Dog, who we don't actually get to play a lot in America, and we know he is, in my opinion, one of the best players, because every time you see him go to an offline premiere event, whether it's last year or this year, he's always in the top 8 somewhere. It's silent top 8s. Like, I don't think people know he's there, but he actually always be there. Like, so he's like a silent top 8er that people don't really realize or give enough credit to. So I think that Hot Dog's going to be very scary for a lot of us because we don't actually get to play him a lot. And then the last thing I would say is the Oil King, BCQ, NL, and Sheehan team. That team's always very scary. Those guys are all some of the greatest players in the world, and they just all on the team together. So, that team every year is always very, very dangerous.
Man, hold on, Punk. You just sat there and said all these players. I want you to look at me right in my eyes, all 4 of them. And I'm trying to tell you something right now. One player that you did not say is the one who I think is the one that's primarily on your heels. He remind me of a younger Punk the God. Before all the championships, before the Evos, before you got more calm, and that is Noah the Prodigy. He on your heels, champion. I want to know what you think about that. That's one of the most exciting storylines in Street Fighter League. He going to be talking a whole lot of trash, and he believe he can back it up. What you thinking about Noah this season?
He's a very good player. He found a way to win in his game plan the way he played. I don't really know how he did it. He got his unique play style, and he really mastered it. He really mastered how to play the game, and it's honestly crazy to see. But as far as my team go and us, like, I know at least me personally, Noah would never even think about playing against me in Street Fighter League, and I know he told his team that, so that's not even like it's not really a mystery, bro. Like, most of our sets are 3-0, so it's not like I'm not like the Asian players he play against. He knows what he gets when he come against me. So
3-0? That's what I'm scared about the most.
All his matches is 3-0. Every time we play, it's 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, maybe 3-1 sometimes.
I'm more concerned about like everything that goes down on like the offline part of it, when like you guys are all like sitting next to each other, and like if somebody pops off over the other, I want to see like what that kind of like.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't know if the studio's gonna be prepared for that, man.
I don't know, bro. But I tell you what, Punk, you bringing that energy as always, bro. Your team is looking ridiculous. Shout out to FlyQuest and yourself, and we cannot wait to see you in this season of Street Fighter League.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Man, always good to pick Punk's brain, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he has a whole different aura nowadays that he's the Evo champ.
Yeah.
I think there's no more weight on his shoulders. There's nothing anybody can say. It is what it is. He is that guy, one of the greatest Street Fighter players that we have ever seen. That said, the next team we're about to bring up, oh my gosh. You want to talk about greatness? You want to talk about championships? Ladies and gentlemen, reigning champs, the one, the only. Fisher, I'm going to let you do the honors. Who is this next roster we're about to find out?
It's the group of Banditos. The Bandits are coming back into the fray, coming to redeem themselves in regards to what they've been going through this year in the realm of CPT in general, as individuals, but as a team. They are the powerhouse. They are the returning champs of the world coming back into it. I'm talking about Mena RD as the captain, followed with Kaba, Luiman, and Zen. Now, this is a very interesting composition. Now, it feels like more of a family ordeal for the first three. Then you have Zen. It's just like, we had our beef a little bit. I know you've taken me out in a couple of tournaments, but you know what? Because of the fact that you beat me, I don't want to have to play you out in the streets. I'm letting you come onto my team instead.
It's almost like when you watch boxing or something like that, and these guys just going at it. They're throwing all these hands, destroying each other's face and that. But then at the end of the fight, there's nothing but respect. You might end up becoming best friends after that. In the end of the day, what does Ryu say? The answer lies. Where it lies?
In the heart of battle.
In the heart of battle, ladies and gentlemen. There have been a lot of battles with Zen and Mena RD, so of course a lot of respect. Now they've actually teamed up. But Team Bandits in general, when it comes to this squad, when they started things out, remember, I think it was like an all-DR team. We had Hermes Benatori. Shout out my man, Hermes Benatori and everybody.
Yeah.
But back in that time, there was a lot of struggle. Right?
It was, yeah. So this was the moment where we first really introduced the world going into Street Fighter US, right? You had folks like Bandits, Nasser, and Nordovan all in one roof, under one roof. Then after that, you even had the powerhouse happen with Bandits with Nasser. You had that combination. Then even followed after that, you saw the heartbreak, the tearing of the family. Being put out there for Street Fighter League.
That situation right there, Bandits and Nasser, they were the favorite easily. I mean, you got both the brothers, man. You got Mena and Kaba alongside Angry Bird and Big Bird. Everyone knew, hey, this season is over before it even starts. These guys are going to win. Sure enough, it does not play out like that. They weren't able to get the W. Turned into a whole big drama show when it came to the last season of Street Fighter League. Mena RD promised, he vowed to make sure that Nasser did not win, and he vowed to bring home a world championship for Street Fighter League US.
Wild.
And he did it. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked up the man himself. Let's talk to him. We have Mena RD. Mena RD, what's going on, bro? Hold on, what's this background? It's looking quite luxurious over your way.
It ain't a green screen, man. It's Dominican Republic, So I just want to invite everybody, Respawn coming and we chilling and just enjoying the country.
It's looking absolutely beautiful out there. Can't wait for Blink Respawn. But right now, we're talking about Street Fighter League, man. We got your roster right here. Of course, yourself, you got Kaba. You done brought your brother Louis, man. And you've got Jin as well. Which one you want to ask him about first? Because there's so much to talk about.
Okay, well, first and foremost, we've seen, as we are in the know, obviously, it's part of our jobs, we've seen the back and forth between you and Jin. What's going on with that, man? How did you ended up picking him up instead? What was going on through your mind in regards to the roster and who was available? Why did you pick Zen?
So Zen, he makes a lot of sense for me for a few reasons. The first is a lot of people were gonna pick him up just for me. A lot of these teams don't have a real answer for what I got against them, and they just wanted Jin to give me a hard time. The second thing is, a lot of these teams, Knuckle Doo is using DJ when he fights me, and some of these teams are gonna try to rely on DJ, but I have a DJ to practice with. This is the main DJ that gives me trouble, so I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready for DJ because I have him with me and on my team and the coaching too. And last but not least, I feel like a lot of these teams are sleeping on Jen as a player itself. What this kid did in 5 with Bison, I feel like they think it's kind of gimmicky with the DJ and all of that. I feel like his Bison might end up being the best Bison in the world. I really trust him. And I don't need him to in the regular season, kill it with Bison and all of that. I'm thinking ahead. I think by the time the World Final comes, that Bison's going to be ready, and I think it's going to be crazy.
Oh, you done played that out. That's fire.
It makes a lot of sense.
He immediately counter-picking the other teams. I know you going to want him. I'm going to take him. And then, y'all, I got a little DJ problem. You want to do some of that? Now I got him to practice with. That is absolutely fire. And then, of course, the Bison be ready by the time Street Fighter League World Finals, assuming you guys do make it back there again. Now, on the Jin side, one more thing about the Jin thing. So of course we know you guys have your rivalry. Does this mean that it's kumbaya, my lord, and all that is over with? Or do y'all still got stuff to settle outside of Street Fighter League once this is all done?
Look, Rob, at the end of the day, I'm a professional, and all I'm thinking about is winning. You know, I want to be the first player to win Street Fighter League Worlds and Capcom Cup at the same time. And if it means I got to be kumbaya with you for Street Fighter League, I'm going to be kumbaya. I'm not but if I meet you on Sunday, you already know what's going to happen. You already know.
Okay, I'll tell you what, that competitive drive like that'll push your teammates to be even stronger, to be honest.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about the teammates again a little bit too. On top of having Zhen, what is it like having your own brother like that, Louis Man, into the roster? What does that mean for you going into Street Fighter League?
It's really special. You know, I haven't given him any shortcuts. Louis Man is my big brother, you know, and he was the one that taught me how to play Street Fighter. But as you can see, this year is when he's finally making, like, you know, a name for himself and beating people. And I haven't given him, like, oh, you're going to get a free sponsor, you're going to get a free this. I've supported him, but I wanted him to, like, really be ready and demonstrate, like, he can do it by himself. He don't need nobody to carry him, you know? And I feel like this year he finally deserves it. Like, he's been working so hard, and he earned it. He's not in the team because he's my brother. He's on the team because he's #1 in DR right now. You know, so I really trust him. I feel like he's the best Dawson in the world, and I think a lot of people will be surprised when it's time to play.
We don't see a lot of Dawson in Street Fighter League. I feel like we've only really seen, at least Mr. Crimson is who pops into my mind at least. But especially in Street Fighter 6, I feel like he's not as popular of a character. Do you think that he could have a hard time because of his character choice?
I think he can definitely have a hard time if you misuse him, you know. Thankfully, I have the strategies ready. I know how to handle a Dawson. Because Dawson is similar to Guile in that regard. That, like, last season, Guile lost to JP, so I couldn't use Guile in a way or all the strategies that I wanted. So you have to know how to play around it, but I feel like overall it's going to be really good. And some of the Japanese players actually have a Dawson too. Because Dawson fights well against Guile himself, Kuma, the Zangief top tier now. Dawson beats him, so it's like you got to know how to use him, and I feel like it's going to come in clutch. I don't need him to be, you know, the captain and to carry the team, but I know he's going to do what he's supposed to do.
And I'm glad you mentioned the other side of that coin. We talked about Dalsum in the same kind of breath that you talk about Guile. Kaba's actually had a really great run over at Cream City Convergence. Can you kind of talk about his current mentality? I know you guys talk pretty much enough to kind of gauge where each other's skill level is at. How do you think Kaba is going to be feeling, and what his current competitive stat is going to be like going into a brand new season of Street Fighter League with this current version of Guile? It's
gonna be a different Kaba. It's not because, you know, anything Guile related or game related. It's just his mindset. Right now, you know, I've taken the peaceful route, and I've been down to represent not only the US directly. I don't care, you know. It's been peaceful, but some things happen in Milwaukee. And we got this chip on our shoulder right now, some things to settle, especially with Kaba. And I think he's coming ready. He's coming savage mode, and it's gonna be ugly what he's gonna do, you know?
Okay, so this seems like y'all got, like you said, a chip on your shoulder, a little bit of bad boys type of energy you bringing into this season. I know you always got some type of issue you got. In the end of the day, I feel like if you don't got an issue, you're gonna make one up just because it drives you to a different level. And then now Kaba, we seen what happened with him and another player, Knuckle Dew. You know what I'm saying? They had their drama going on at the last major. So I gotta ask in general, like, are you guys going into this with like a bit of a villain type of mentality?
Not a villain. I guess if you're American, we're the villains.
Hold on, what you mean? What you mean? What you mean by that?
We definitely coming to represent Street Fighter League DR. I don't mess with that SFL US in the World Finals, not anymore. We did it last year. This year, when we're in the World Finals, I'm going to need that SFL DR in the World Finals.
Oh, talking spicy.
That's fair.
That's crazy.
Fair. Just for clarity, too, like coming into it, we've talked about a little bit of the behind the scenes. We talked about what's been going on from Cream City Convergence that has been out there on the social media platforms. If there's a situation for 20 points, Knuckle Dew is sitting on the anchor spot, who are you sending?
I don't think he's going to be on the anchor spot.
But are you sending Kaba or not? Are we seeing Kaba versus Knuckle Dude Dang? Can we get the match?
You gotta tune into Street Fighter League 2024 to see.
Enough said, ladies and gentlemen.
He is a pro. He's a pro.
Yo, Minna, appreciate talking to you, brother. I'm glad to see you living good and all that. You representing the scene the right way, and congratulations on everything you've been doing. Good luck on this upcoming season of Street Fighter League. Minna RD, I couldn't have said it better myself, bro. My man, let it be known. You're going to have to find out on Street Fighter League first episode. The first episode is going to be airing Wednesday, October 16th, and you do not want to miss it. Man, we got so much to look forward to right now, bro. First thing I got to ask you, as far as even just the regular season and everything, we now officially have the rosters. How do you think these teams are really going to fare?
Well, it's really a tough thing to call out, right? With so many changes that have been happening these last couple of weeks, right? We have something to look forward to in regards to like how the characters are going to play out. It's hard to even call out even who would make it into the playoff spots, right? Just because of how talented all of these teams are. But I know what you're looking for, and I know you want the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
You're probably asking me who's making it into playoffs, all right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you, man.
Only 4.
Shopify Rebellion looks mad stacked. However, I'm never going to doubt the Bandits camp. They are the current champions. I know it's a safe pick, but I do love the fact that they're coming in with a different type of energy. As you may have heard or may not have heard, this interview was something that's actually super something to consider. You have Men RD, Kaba, Louis Man, and Zen. You have the composition of somebody being able to take out the captain. Now on your team, instead, you have somebody who has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder from their last performance over at a CPT, aka Kaba. Men has got enough pressure already coming in his performance for CPT throughout the year, and then Louis Monte has something to prove.
Yeah, you know what? I do think clearly that has to be one of the best picks that you can have right there. Kaba is looking really nice right now. And then, of course, you're going to have some extra motivation. I got to say, what's really scary with them is the fact that Minna is literally sitting up here saying, I picked Jin. His reasoning for picking Jin was crazy. He is thinking about the game at a different level, and I ain't talking about the game of Street Fighter, but the game of Street Fighter League. Love to see that. But one team that you didn't bring up, I think that I don't even want to call them a wild card. They're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. Cloud9.
I knew it.
In their first year of Street Fighter League. Are you kidding me? JB and Lex, the Brothers of Destruction, on one team, of course. And then you add my man's, actually, first I'm going to say this. First I'm going to say my man's Boost, who's an absolute beast over there on the East Coast.
He's a machine.
A lot of people really got extra put onto him through these online tournaments. And then I want to say there was a World Warrior where he literally got first place, beating Minna RD, beating Punk in an official important tournament online. But now, Noah the Prodigy, I mean, everywhere he goes, he is taking names. Of course, him qualifying for EWC over there in France. And then in Esports World Cup, he had a great performance. I think that he ended up winning like 20K. I think he finished like 12th place or something extremely high like that. But most importantly, he got that confidence. And I'm not going to lie to you, bro. In the end of the day, I'm big Hollywood RobTV. I like the big drama show. He about to be talking spicy, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean?
It gets me kind of nervous for the teams that he has to face off against. There's also somebody who's caused a lot of that drama and also backed it up at the same time. I'm talking about Punk's team. We got FlyQuest coming back into the fray. I feel like once those teams go at it, that is going to be one of the biggest ordeals, not only in the game, but also in Street Fighter
Punk
Entertainment.
already was talking trash in his interview, too. He said, Noah not going to be playing against me. He said he beat Noah 3-0 every single time. Do you know how bad that is, ladies and gentlemen? 3-0 every single time? Like, you don't even really just get lucky and get one here and there, or that's all you
3-0.
get. 3-0.
3-0.
He said he knows better than to even step up and play me. That's wild. So, in the end of that means Noah's going to be trying to take that spot no matter what he want to play against that match, I would imagine.
We'll see how that goes, too. On top of that, you also have anomalies coming into it with Red Rooster. You have Brutus in the fray alongside Uriel Velorio. That is no longer part of Team Puerto Rico. That is just straight up, we are coming for the throne type of team.
Brutus rocking the Zangief. I think this is, again, I feel like you haven't corrected me on this yet. I do think this is our first Geef. I want to say this is our first Geef main in Street Fighter League history from season 1 all the way to now, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then this season of Street Fighter League, and y'all don't got more Geefs on your team? Are you kidding me? I would pick a Geef player even over somebody who might be stronger than the Geef player.
I mean,
depending on who the player
might
is.
fill that spot. Mena just might fill that spot.
Mena does have Zangief now. We literally just saw him win a CPT with that. So that is crazy. Outside of those, we didn't even bring up, though, on FlyQuest, My man Shine is
Psycho
back,
too.
ladies and gentlemen. And Psycho actually is also back because he did play in Season 1 of Street Fighter League, and now he is finally back. It has been a while. Punk is singing his praises. So as far as the playoffs, it's definitely not going to be easy to call, but I'll tell you one thing. You can depend on these matches being absolutely phenomenal. Who are your favorites? Who do you want to see? Make sure you guys are tuned in Wednesday, October 16th, Capcom Fighters, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. This is the best show on earth, and you do not want to miss it. We'll see you guys there.